What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including Raw is in big trouble, the real reason why Aleister Black is all elite, WWE's massive blunder, Chris Jericho punches a fan for invading the ring, CM Punk's UFC loss has been overturned, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Now let's hit the intro and get straight into the first story. Our first story looks at the real reason why Aleister Black signed with AEW. There's big news for fans of Aleister Black, aka Tom Budgen, as the Dutch Destroyer debuted on last night's edition of Dynamite, taking out Arn Anderson with the Black Mass and proceeding to do the same with Cody Rhodes. Anderson was in the ring for an interview with Tony Schiavone when the lights went out, and when they came back on, Black was in the ring. Tommy End is now working in All Elite Wrestling as Malachi Black, a hopefully lawyer-friendly version of his WWE name. In an interesting move, Black has opted to continue wrestling and sell the kayfabe eye injury he suffered at the hands of Murphy during Aleister Black's participation in the feud between Rollins and the Mysterio family. I just love those little bits of attention to detail. How amazing that he's carrying that over to another promotion. But in fact, Black actually released a clever video in which he talked to doctors at an institution where he claims he was locked up for 5 years, while referring to, of course, his 5-year run in the WWE. Some fans were surprised to see Aleister in AEW due to his wife Zelina Vega's recent return to the promotion. Now, there were rumors of WWE having second thoughts about releasing Black, and some stories even hinted that he might be asked back. Black apparently felt he had more options open to him creatively in AEW, hence his decision to sign. But while Black and his wife are now working in 2 different promotions, Vega tweeted her congratulations to her husband. "I couldn't be prouder." Now, how did Aleister Black actually turn up in AEW? After all, isn't there a 90-day no-compete clause? Well, how did he get around it? Well, fans who were hoping he might sign with AEW figured he couldn't be until nearly the end of the summer. However, that wasn't the case. Did WWE waive the clause? Well, there have been rumors of recent release WWE superstars asking for waivers and or shortened no-compete clauses, but Black's case, however, was due to a big backstage blunder at WWE. PW Insider reports that a clerical error allowed Black to work for AEW. Wrestling News' Paul Davis elaborated on the situation. Basically, what happened was this: when Black was moved to NXT to the main roster a few years ago, the company forgot to update the standard 30-day no-compete clause to 90 days that is given to all main roster members. This mistake allowed him to be free from his non-compete 30 days after his release, and that is how he was able to jump to AEW tonight. If this story is accurate, it seems likely someone could lose their job over this. But then again, with all the recent cuts to WWE staff, that person may have already been released. As Davis noted, it's unknown if anyone else who was recently released is in a similar position to Black where they can go work for another promotion right away. But was this an intentional blunder? Now, it's entirely plausible that an oversight allowed him to jump to AEW, but what if the WWE worked out a deal with Zelina Vega for her to come back, with one of the clauses being that her husband is allowed to opt out of his 90-day no-compete? This may sound like a kooky conspiracy theory until you look at Andrade's release and the fact that he was released without a 90-day no-compete clause. Is it possible that Charlotte Flair made a deal with Vince to allow Andrade to leave the WWE without a non-compete clause? The case can be made that Flair has the backstage pull to get a deal for her fiancé. But what about Vega? While Vega is still a minor player in the WWE, her outspokenness about the WWE's labor practices made her a prominent figure for WWE critics, and a return to the company she vocally criticized makes the WWE look good, or at least Vince McMahon probably thinks so. Vega's return could have come with the condition that Black may be given a pass on his non-compete clause. Thus, the story of a clerical error is either a cover story or it could have been applied to Andrade as well. Fans are still wondering why Malachi Black signed with AEW, particularly after his wife returned to the WWE. As we previously mentioned, there were rumors that the WWE realized they were making a mistake in releasing Black, and as reported in a past video, Black claims Vince McMahon personally apologized to him for the way he'd been misbooked. Well, this was prior to Black's return to SmackDown this year before his release shortly thereafter, so the case could be made that WWE was ready to capitalize on Black's enigmatic character and brutal persona. Ultimately, Black chose AEW, and the reason, besides money, likely has it to do with AEW giving them a chance to utilize his creativity in crafting some more compelling storylines in Tony Khan's promotion. The WWE's history with bringing back wrestlers and promising the world only to blunder in their booking is well established. which kinda makes Zelina Vega's return to the WWE baffling. Black should enjoy a strong push in AEW and be given the freedom to play his character as he sees it. Next up, AEW has big surprises planned. Aleister Black's AEW debut may be the first of several big surprises coming to AEW. In fact, AEW President Tony Khan appeared recently on Busted Open Radio and announced there are a number of big surprises coming to the promotion. Wrestling News' Paul Davis commented on the situation, noting that there are a number of free agents on the market, including Braun Strowman, Daniel Bryan, and Mickie James. There's also the ever-elusive CM Punk, whose name invariably comes up when someone talks of wrestling's biggest free agents. Rumors have been circulating that All Elite plans on running loaded shows now that it's returned to holding events with fans present. Sounds like fans should also expect some big debuts in AEW as well. But who do you think will show up in AEW next? Do you think they're signing too many former WWE superstars? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, Raw is in big trouble. Now, there's more bad news for the WWE in the ratings department, as the 5th July edition of Raw scored its lowest rating in the show's history. We're talking all the way back from 1993. This follows the 2nd July SmackDown, which scored the second lowest ratings in the Blue brand's time on Fox. WrestleNomics' Brandon Thurston revealed WWE Raw on Monday on the USA Network was watched by 1,472,000 viewers, an all-time low for the show that debuted in 1993. 18 to 49 viewership was almost the same as last week, slightly up, and the third lowest on record. However, there are some doubts as to whether the recent ratings was the lowest. After several fans questioned Thurston's post, he followed up with this. It's been pointed out to me that October 1993 issue of MatWatch reported the September 13th 93 episode of Raw was watched by 1,021,000 households. If that episode had fewer than 1.45 million viewers per home, it could have had fewer total viewers than Monday's episode. Whichever figure is accurate, it's unlikely that there are happy executives at USA Network. While the Independence Day holiday may have contributed to the low rating, Raw's numbers have been dropping for some time, unlike SmackDown's, which has shown some stability and even some improvement. As we noted in our analysis for this week's Raw, the Red Brand's latest episode was uneven as usual, with little to interest fans in sticking around. As things stand, Raw seems to be in major trouble, and while the WWE is gearing up for reported big changes once fans return, the promotion better have some good plans in place and not the usual array of cosmetic changes that fans have come to expect whenever Vince McMahon promises to improve the product. Next up, Jericho punches an invading fan. Now, it's been a long time since wrestling shows have ran at full capacity, but it didn't take long for someone to try their hand at getting in the ring. Chris Jericho was in the ring waiting for his segment with MJF when someone tried to invade the ring. A security guard stopped the sucker from entering the ring, but that didn't stamp Le Champion from trying to dish out some wrestling justice, getting in a cheap shot. It's unknown whether Jericho going after the fan counts as one of the 5 labors of Jericho, or he has to fight 4 opponents before getting his hands on MJF. Now, we won't even give the would-be invader the benefit of the doubt as to whether he's a wrestling fan, as any true fan knows to stay out of the ring. Seriously, why do people still try it? And finally, CM Punk's loss is overturned. And last but not least, congratulations to former UFC fighter CM Punk, whose UFC record has improved from 0-2 to 0-1-1 thanks to a discovery by the intrepid sleuth at MMA Junkie. Nolan King is reporting, MMA Junkie learned that through a Freedom of Information Act request and subsequent confirmation from the Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulation that Punk's unanimous decision loss to Mike Jackson at UFC 225 has been overturned to a no contest. The change in result to the June 2018 fight, which wasn't reported publicly until now, stems from Jackson testing positive for marijuana on fight night. According to King, neither fighter was aware of the decision until now. Jackson replied to the report via Instagram, "It's funny how you losers think your opinions matter." There's been no response from Punk as the production of this video. But there you have it, folks, the wildest wrestling news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.